Hi, and welcome to another Comics with Kids. I'm doing a video today because I finally got a chance to catch up on some of my books by my bed, the reading table selections, if you will. And I thought it would be fun to sort of review a bunch of those books and give you an idea of what's at the store, at your local comic book shop, what you might want to skip or pick up for yourselves. It's largely Marvel. This was my Marvel reading stack. And then I had some DC and independent books as well to kind of pick up on. So this is going to be a little bit of everything. I'm going to start with my favorite right now. The book that I've been reading monthly and enjoying more than any other has been this run, Old Man Hawkeye. And I just really like it. I might even like it more than Old Man Logan at this point. It's really close. I think this is what I really wanted the Old Man Logan universe to be. And it really spends more time on it, in my opinion. So I read issue 6, which I had kind of skimmed read. I reread issue 7, which was the big one. So if you haven't read this one yet, it's got some great twists and some exciting moments. Definitely worth checking out. And then the most recent issue is this one, issue 8. I really like the story. I think it's being done really well, and just great covers and art, and just really builds on that Old Man Logan universe in a way that I felt like nothing else has done. And I felt like that character, even Old Man Logan as a character, has been wasted, in my opinion, from what that first story was. So I read through that one, and I liked that one a lot. I read through this Spider-Geddon, which there's been a lot of buzz about and a lot of new characters coming out of it. I didn't love it. If you're going to pick it up because of the first appearances and keep it for that kind of monetary reason, fine. I haven't been loving the storyline. I'm not a huge Venom fan, and I know that this is supposed to be Eddie Brock, like his, some relation to Eddie Brock, and I'm just not blown away by it. There's like spider mech suits and stuff in it, so that maybe you dig it. For me, I'm not one on it yet, and I don't know if I'm going to get the rest of those. Another book that I've been back and forth on enjoying has been the Ottley Spencer Amazing Spider-Man run. The artwork is my main enjoyment out of it. He does Spider-Man in my favorite sort of Mark Bagley, Eric Larson style that I really dig. That sort of what I describe as like a gangly, skinny Spider-Man. I don't like the ripped McFarlane style as much. I will say the story is not as good. Like, I wish that Spencer was at the same level as Ottley. Ottley, who you may have seen from Invincible, does really great art. I just don't know that he's being supported as well on the story side. There's this doppelganger kind of storyline that I'm not really loving, and we'll see how it ends. I'm hoping they do another story so I can continue to kind of see them grow as a partnership and see what they can really do. And then I've been reading a lot of Donny Cates. So this is that Ghost Rider, the Cosmic Ghost Rider storyline, and the most recent one had the new version of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the futuristic version, which has, it's like Howard the Duck as the Juggernaut. You've got on this side over here, it's Rocket Raccoon as like a Groot mech suit, and then of course Cable in the center. I like Cosmic Ghost Rider, if only for the ridiculousness of it. I think it's really Donny Cates being able to cut loose and do something a little silly, and so that side of it I really enjoy. I'm hoping that there's a real arc to this and that it becomes something a little more interesting. I think the second issue is the worst one, but the first and the third are really good, so hopefully it continues on a little bit. Let's do some DC. I've been reading... On the DC side, I've been reading this Catwoman storyline ever since the sort of debacle of the wedding from the summer, and I think that obviously the Art Germ covers are the main reason I picked these up. I mean, this is just an insanely cool cover, and there's a couple more in the next 2 issues that I hear are just as impressive as that one. The internal story is just starting to build. It's a very slow burn, and I'm enjoying her portions. I don't know if I care as much for the villain yet. I'm kind of interested to see where that would go. but I'm going to keep going on that story for sure. Independence. I was reading. This is Bone Parish. It's a new comic. I think they've only got 2 issues, and I got these 2 covers. Let's see how we can do the glare is pretty bad there. Sorry about that. Maybe move to this side. It has to do with a drug made from the remains of dead people, and it's pretty intense. Family drama about a family-run drug empire. I like it well enough so far. I'm curious to kind of see where it goes. The sort of psychedelic aspects of it are kind of interesting. So I think if you are curious about it, I would pick that one up. It's a good try. On the Marvel side still, I've been more Donny Cates. This is the Death of the Inhumans, and the most recent issue continues on the storyline of the Inhumans sort of under attack, and several of them have died. I don't want to ruin any of that, but I do think there's some great twists in issues 2 and 3 regarding Black Bolt, who's the sort of leader or king of the Inhumans from the Earth area. And I think that I really enjoyed those twists I didn't see coming, and I thought that was really fun. And I'm not even an Inhumans fan. I don't know almost nothing about them except that it's written by Donny Cates, so I picked it up. So I think you could really enjoy that. There's a couple of events going on with Marvel right now. Extermination is one, and I've enjoyed that as well. I don't think it's great, but it's got the pieces to be something really interesting, so I'm kind of curious to see where it goes from here. I do like some of the twists, so I'm hoping that it builds into something valuable. I'm a little less impressed with the Infinity Wars Prime. I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. I might just pick up the run just to have it, but I like Extermination more as far as if those are the 2 choices you're trying to choose between. I'm an X-Man fan, so I think that's probably where I would go with my money. This is a one-off, I think, or at least the beginning of a short run that Donny Cates is doing with Thanos. Again, the Thanos legacy, catching up with what happens to Thanos sort of at the end of Donny Cates' first run and the beginning of that Infinity Wars Prime storyline. There's some important stuff with Gamora and Thanos, and it sort of builds on all of that. So that's just a shorter storyline that I tried out the first issue. I didn't love it. It was kind of jam-packed with stuff, but I'm hoping that it's got a little something going on down the line. I picked up both versions of Venom. This is the story that kind of goes part and parcel with some of the stuff Donny Cates is doing on Venom. And it's a backstory kind of to maybe possibly some of the first ways in which the symbiotes would have been used on Earth, specifically in the Vietnam War. Which brings me to one of the things I've been loving the most, besides that Old Man Hawkeye. It's the Venom that Donny Cates is doing. I will say, I'm not a Venom fan. And I mentioned it earlier, I think the character's a little overdone, and I think that Eddie Brock as a character is really flat and really weak. But this is amazing. Like, this is really good. I think it converted me in the sense that it was not about humanizing or making Eddie Brock a certain thing. It's actually more about humanizing the symbiote, which is far more interesting of a character than Eddie. So at that level, I think it's just nailing it, and really, really curious to see where it goes from here. So I would definitely recommend that Venom run. Just start getting it. I don't think it's going to go for terribly long, so just like keep getting them, because I think that each issue sort of twists the story in another fun way. That leaves me with just a couple left here. I've finally read the first 3 issues of Oblivion Song. If you haven't heard of this one, it's Robert Kirkman. I am not a huge fan, but I've read the first few trades of Walking Dead, and I know that he's a talented guy, but I got over that Walking Dead really quick. I know I'm just in the rarity as far as Walking Dead is concerned. I never really went crazy for it. This is better. I like this better than Walking Dead as far as an idea of a story with interdimensional alien kind of things going on, and a focus on 2 brothers and kind of being separated. and having to find each other again. I think that the story builds really well. I think the first issue and the third issue are my favorites. The second issue was just trying to like do more world building, but I definitely recommend checking it out. And I think there's 7 issues now, so I got to go and pick up 3 through 7 or 4 through 7 at some point. So that's a fun indie book. Image does that one. And I got a blank version of this book cover. It's Bendis and Mack. This is what a lot of the covers look like. And it centers on a comic book artist who gets involved with elements of the CIA and Langley. And it's based really loosely on some experiences and the imagination of what those experiences could have been for Bendis and for Mack, who were both in different ways speakers at Langley and connected to people at Langley in different times. And so they kind of made a fictional story of those sort of brainstorms of what that could have been like. They've only published 1 issue. It just came out this last week. So it's just beginning, but I think it's really got some fun ideas, and it's just beautifully done. David Mack does really cool artwork. I loved Bendis and Mack and some of the stuff they did on Daredevil, which I've mentioned. Maleev did a lot of stuff at that run as well on Daredevil, but this is David Mack and Bendis, and I think it really could be something fun. So I snagged the first issue. I recommend checking that one out. And the last one I want to mention is a lot of people got burned on that Batman wedding, and I totally understand that. But I think if you scrap it, you're going to miss where they go next. And I really loved the first story they did immediately after the wedding stuff was done, called Cold Days, focusing on Bruce Wayne on jury duty for some reason, trying to defend in court, or at least in the jury room, to defend Mr. Freeze, who was beat pretty badly by Batman. And it was a great kind of look at how Bruce might view Batman, and of course the ways in which the not having the wedding is affecting Batman out in the streets at night. And it also, this cover is just nuts. And this is the third part. This is the variant for the third part in the Batman storyline. Really a cool run. It's just 3 issues. I think it's done, and they're going to keep going with a new story. But if you want to snag those 3 issues of Cold Days, it's a really good read. Really wonderful look at the psychology of Batman and what he's going through. And it's like a little, 12 Angry Men, a version of 12 Angry Men set in the Batman universe. So that's a fun little 3 issues that I would definitely recommend. And it's Tom King. That guy's a lights-out writer. So I just totally recommend that one a bunch. So those are the books that I'm reading right now. Hopefully you're reading some, or you've got some recommendations for me. So feel free to drop those in the comments section. And of course, like it and subscribe to us. Check in on what we're doing. I'm going to try to get another video done this weekend, hopefully. But school is back in session for all of us, so we'll see what we can get to. Thanks for checking in.